I don't think I ever really believed everything.
And I realized that quite a few of the things didn't hold water.
The actual religions were man-made from wherever.
God? Who's God? What's God?
I think skepticism really is the first step.
Scientific zest and zeal for the real world.
That was it. I was an atheist from then on.
Enjoy life and not to put off and put off and put off for the afterlife.
Hi, I'm Red.
Hi, I'm Susan, and this is our friend Marvin here to tell us about his road to atheism. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. What is your current feelings about religion and about your...
Well, you see, as far as being an atheist is concerned, I consider it to just be a given. Mm-hmm. It's rational. Mm-hmm. So that I never really look upon myself in a defensive way, that I'm an atheist and so I have to say this or that or something else in order to protect my position or to give validity to my position. Being an atheist is just, it's inherently correct.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
And you started life as, or your parents?
Nice Jewish boy.
Nice Jewish.
Brought up in the Bronx in an Orthodox atmosphere.
Okay.
When I got married, we moved to New Rochelle, mm-hmm. which...
and you were still Jewish at that? I mean,
yes,
deeply...
practicing the Jewish faith.
Yes, we moved to New Rochelle. Lived in a predominantly Jewish area, mm-hmm. although the entire town of New Rochelle was very mixed. Mm-hmm. Black, white, Jewish, everything. And I liked that idea. And it wasn't until I moved into Manhattan, which was about 30 years ago, and for the first time was in a totally mixed
atmosphere.
Were you still married at that point?
I left my family, which led to, the divorce. Mm-hmm. And I think being in a much more heterogeneous kind of atmosphere, living in Manhattan, sort of, worked on me. And there was no one particular thing that happened, but I just evolved. And to me, it was an easy thing to evolve to because it's the only thing that made sense.
So you worked on logic.
Just on logic, and I still work on logic. Mm-hmm. Fortunately, I have, living in New York, pretty liberal friends, mm-hmm. family, whatever, and they've always accepted me as sort of a maverick.
You remind me of Joe Damon.
I worked with him for many years. He endorsed many of my products.
Oh.
Yeah. But we won't discuss names tonight.
Sure.
So to me, it was just... everything else is ridiculous. I believe you're born. Mm-hmm. And when you die, you're dead. And you either get buried or cremated. And anything else is just silly. Mm-hmm. It's pathetic.
Yeah.
See, I look upon religious people it's sort of sad for them that they can't fulfill their life desires while they're living and have to think in terms of living the proper life or the more fulfilled life
for the death
after they're dead. Mm-hmm. It's, it's sad. And it's sad that they feel that way. So I feel energized and much more in touch.
Were your parents still alive when you became...
No.
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 So they never knew.
Do you have any siblings? Do you have any brothers or sisters?
I had a sister who died. I had one sister, she died. And she would have been supportive of me, although she was, I'm very happy to be Jewish.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
the culture is
I'm a
very, very
Zionist.
good, yeah.
I'm a Zionist.
Mm-hmm.
I go to Israel. I have a very large family in Israel, but I'm just not religious.
Mm-hmm.
And those that are, I sort of say, it's a shame that they really can't take from life what life has to offer them because they're not in touch with reality.
Yeah.
So they live in some kind of silly dream world.
Clinging to these fairy tales.
Yeah, to the hopes.
Yeah.
And the hopes are never realized. And there's no evidence, never has been any evidence of any of this afterlife or any of this other madness. And it's just simply sad.
Do you see the reflection of something like this in everyday life, the friends that you meet? Have you ever talked about that to them? Your
Sure.
feelings? And what are their reactions as to, or have you converted any of them?
No,
What are their reactions?
nor do I try to.
Right. What are their reactions when they hear you say what you are?
Well, most of the people who I have relationships with are basically pretty liberal and may laugh. Sometimes they laugh at me. Sometimes they laugh with me. Sometimes they laugh after we leave each other.
That's their problem.
And that is their problem. I mean,
That's right.
it's sad.
Mm-hmm.
So being an atheist is is very fulfilling.
Right.
Okay, I'm not giving up anything.
No.
I'm gaining the ability to enjoy life and not to put off and put off and put off for the afterlife.
Mm-hmm.
And in my head, there's simply no question. So it's not argumentative.
No.
And whether somebody has declared themselves as being an atheist or haven't, it doesn't make any difference to me. I know where I'm at. And if they want to live in some kind of sad world,
Right.
and in most instances, the people who need the afterlife need the afterlife.
Mm-hmm.
And so therefore, by definition, their current life is not a fulfilled life. Otherwise, they wouldn't need an afterlife.
That's right.
And so it's very simple.
And they'll, in other words, there's a lot of sacrifices that they'll go through in order to saving the good time for the afterlife. So they suffer, almost literally suffer, in the present day and time.
Correct.
In being as faithful and as truthful as they possibly can, so that they're accepted into what they feel will be the afterlife.
Right.
Which unfortunately is a short and rough time for them and a waste of time.
You know what it is? It's
Yes.
ridiculous. It's just simply, it's laughable.
Right.
And so I look upon it as really being laughable and evil.
Oh,
Well,
definitely.
You know,
Yes, it
a
can.
combination, because it's used as a tool by clergy to manipulate,
And politicians.
and politicians to manipulate, to try to direct people's thinking in ways that are just ridiculous. And so now, as far as being an atheist, I divide it into two categories.
Okay.
One is the separation of church and state, and I consider that to be really number one, because America was based on freedom.
Yes.
And it's not only sad, but to me, evil and manipulative that so many of our leaders and politicians and whatever find the need to mix and merge religion with secular life. And it's terrible.
Yes.
It's an imposition on all of us. Okay? They're taking
and
advantage.
unconstitutional in some sense.
Totally unconstitutional. And it's really pathetic and sad and very evil. You want to believe in whatever you want to believe in, it's okay with me. But don't combine it with secular life.
And that's what they're trying to do.
And it's really disgusting. It's an imposition. It's taking advantage of other people. It's infringing on other people's freedom. And it's everything that would be descriptive would be negative and evil. We live in a great country with tremendous potential, and the basis, one of the key founding concepts and precepts of our forefathers in America was the separation of church and state. And I believe that if those people were still alive today, they would be horrified with what's going on. Horrified.
Yes.
It's just simply unacceptable.
No.
You want to be religious, you want to, fine, you do it in your corner, and I'll do my thing in my corner. Don't bring your corner into my corner. My door's not open to you. And you have no right to force the door open.
Oh, but they're trying.
They're very hard.
Yes.
We have post-World War II. You've had the McCarthy era, and you've had a number of blacklisting. And you also had, because of the Cold War, where you had to deal with Marxism, and we had to find ways to show that we're on God's side, that we had the currency named "In God We Trust."
Horrible.
It's horrible. And as you said, the Founding Fathers, if they were to see something like that, or even hear something like that, they would be involved to have witness and say, this is where we originally
I don't think they would believe some of the things that have occurred. And it's a shame, because your life can be enriched if you accept the fact.
in a secular way of thinking and living.
And then life is over, and
That's
when
right.
it's over, and that's okay. You know, why do you have to think in terms of an afterlife? The main reason is because you're unhappy with your current life. And
you've
so,
been brainwashed into that.
into thinking, that there's going to be a better life.
That's
I mean, that's what the terrorists
She has
do
a
when
good
they
point.
blow themselves up, and
Right.
they go to heaven with the virgins and all the
72
other
virgins. Right.
madness.
Or
It's just-
raisins.
Every
it's just madness. Now, we as being Western, rather than Eastern in our religions, laugh at their religions, But their religions are no more laughable than our religions are.
absolutely.
They're all the same, and it's
They're
all
all fairy
nonsense.
tales.
We have
They're all
many
fairy
different
tales.
things,
and evil.
and the Mormons are a good example of where you have the Garden of Eden is supposed to be in Jackson, Missouri,
Right.
the Mormons, and the lost tribes of the Jews happen to be the Indians, the indigenous Indians of the United States. Now, there's so many different things, so many different religions around the world. They have all kinds of fables, all unusual and miraculous ways that they have been seen.
Well, you could think of them as ancient comic books.
Yes, something like that.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
fairy
Neil
tales. They're
Gaiman
fairy
and
tales. Right. When a child grows up and believes in Santa Claus, and then starts using logic by looking in the encyclopedia and says, well, reindeer really don't fly. If they don't fly, there goes the religious, there goes the Santa Claus. Can't fly? How are you going to get around and anything like that? So it's one thing leads to another. Does science have anything to do with influencing you in any way whatsoever, as far as your thoughts are concerned, using logic?
Not particularly. I wouldn't. No.
Did you read the Bible when you were young?
Yeah.
And was anything in there that disturbed you?
Most of it.
Besides
When I told you when I was growing up, I was a nice little Jewish boy. I kept my I didn't get my feet wet, and I had lunch every day, and I did all the nice things that you're supposed to do. So whatever was in the Bible was fine with me. The assumption was it's in the Bible. It's in the Bible. It's true. But as you hatch, hopefully, as you get older, and you begin to develop your own thinking and your own thoughts, and you see what's going on in the environment around you, you begin to realize how ridiculous some of these things are and how you don't need them.
That's right. See, he uses logic, and there's something I think for our audience to take a hold is to use logic and
Critical thinking
and deductive reasoning This is what we do in college. This is what we try to do, practice in everyday life. I think you're a person that did that deductive reasoning, and you come to those conclusions on your own without having to have a course in it or without having to read the Bible to find out what's foolish and ridiculous in there.
Well, I'll give you a little example. I don't know if it's a totally appropriate example or not, but I go to, I've been going to Mexico for about a month every year. And I go to a very nice town called San Miguel de Allende. And they have lots of parades and events, that they keep the people happy. And so the nice indigenous Mexican people, have these fabulous parades. And they're there and they're worshiping Christ.
Carrying this cross.
Carrying the cross.
Statues.
And I look at them and I say to myself, this is just totally bizarre. Because when the Spanish came and moved into Mexico, it was the imposition of the Roman Catholic religion on the people who worship the sun. Well, worshiping the sun was pretty good, just as good. It's a different sun, and one is
it's actually there.
Takes care of the crops.
One is SON and one is SUN, but they're both sun, So the wise people from Europe knew better and had a better religion.
Yeah.
What made it a better religion? It's nonsense. It's money, stealing, killing. And now you watch, and sometimes I have difficulty when I watch the parade to see these people. They can't know anything, and not because they're stupid. They're not stupid at all. But in their own experiences, and they're worshiping Christ and the saints. And these are nice little...
Passed along from Europeans and brought over to them.
Wonderful local people who have richness within themselves and within their own culture. And here they are turned into Catholics. And Mexico is primarily, a Catholic country.
And the Pope said that, because these people are not Christian, you can take and you can conquer and their land can be your land because they're not Christian, so it doesn't matter. They have no say in the matter.
It's sad. It's very sad.
Yeah.
And, okay, so what I'm trying to say, and I have said, is that I believe that separation of church and state is number one. Then you move on to the religious aspects. And the religious aspects are just, you want to fool yourself. In fact, I wrote, what did I write here if I brought it with me? If you want to believe in fiction, go to a magic show. If you want to deal with facts, come with us. And that's the
Very
bottom
good.
line of what I believe.
That's good. That's good. I mentioned if you had children, and the reason why I'm saying that is that you want them to be and guide them on the right road in life, and you look at how children are manipulated at a very young age through religion.
Yeah. Well, they're brainwashed into religion.
And they are brainwashed in there because of their parents. Yeah. And not only that, but women, there's a lot of misogyny that goes on with women in all three Abrahamic religions.
Oh, good grief, yes.
Okay? Where you have women that are treated as second-class citizens. They're in the back of the church or up in the balcony.
We're supposed to be nothing but housekeeping baby makers.
And well, that's basically...
Well, that's a whole other issue.
That's right. That's another issue.
There are pros and cons as far as that's concerned, too.
Not if you're a woman.
From the so-called original sin.
Not everybody agrees with you.
From the original sin on, you have this. But unfortunately, and I say this to those out in the audience, we're not just speaking to males, we're speaking to females, we're speaking to the young, we're speaking to different age groups. And different ethnicities. The whole idea is to open your mind and eyes and see what's around you, see what really exists, and use common sense as this gentleman has done and is doing. And I think something like that could set you free in so many different ways in life, and where you're not torturing yourself or denying yourself of so many different things that exist. And the children are very important to make sure that they get a chance to understand that freedom that exists out there, and watch out for places like where the church is trying to take over certain fundamental things and encroaching in schools and encroaching in many other ways. Speak out when you see things like that, and so that we can eliminate a lot of the problems, or at least meet them head on before they get out of control and a precedent is set. And once it's set, what happens is that it goes on, it builds up like a snowball rolling down a mountain into something that is uncontrollable, and before you know it, it becomes sort of like a law that is accepted, even though it's not written down. It is that way of life, and laws are developed from that.
One thing I'd like to add is that in being around atheists, I find that many people who are atheists put themselves into a defensive position, meaning they have to find reasons for their being an atheist. I think the people who are religious have to really find the reasons for their being religious. Mm-hmm. I think being an atheist just gives you freedom.
Well, we're all born atheists.
And we are atheists, and thinking people are atheists, and it's not hard to come by, and you don't have to feel defensive, and you feel free and not controlled. And it's a very
rewarding
experience and an uplifting kind of feeling that you have within you. Mm-hmm. You're not making excuses, and you're not you're reaching out for absolutely ridiculous reasons to back up your ridiculous feelings if you're a religiously bent individual.
So true. How long have you been a member of the New York City Atheists?
Only for maybe 2 or 3 years.
And your experience being with the organization, you meet people with like-minded thoughts?
Very nice. Very good. Yeah, because...
And we have guest speakers and Sunday brunches for those.
Interesting, lots of interesting people and nice people and very decent people and people who are generally more upfront and cleaner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good. Ken,
so it's nice being an atheist.
Do you have anything you would like to add to that?
I think I can summarize your life. You want 72 virgins now, not later.
No, I've already had 72. I'm on to 86.
Well, anything that you want to say, the last couple of things to the audience? You have a question, Ken?
Did I understand you also go to India?
I go to India every year to meditate.
And you didn't tell me why you do that and what you get from it?
Oh, a very freeing feeling. When I walk out, it's one of the largest ashrams in the world. Mm-hmm. The guru there is Osho, O-S-H-O, and he's quite well known most all over the world. Maybe not so much in America, I don't know why exactly, but and I generally... they have a guest house, a small guest house, which has about 60 rooms, and the ashram itself holds, could be at least 2,000-3,000 people.
Wow.
A lot of people. That's quite a bit. They're very big. And Osho, who's no longer living, is really brilliant individual. But every morning when I get up and I go out, and there's a path leading from the guest house to the main section of the ashram. I just stand there and feel peaceful for maybe a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, not more.
It's quiet.
Just quiet, peaceful, and easy. And it's extremely relaxing, and you just get a special feeling, having nothing to do with, certainly with any religion.
Just the atmosphere,
being there.
You're not hearing any talk, any discussions or anything.
No. If I weren't an atheist, and I'm not telling you that all of the people in the ashram are atheists, but there are a lot that are. But if I weren't an atheist, I don't think I could generate that kind of deep feeling from within myself that I do.
Meditate.
Yeah. Just a feeling, you know. It's a wonderful feeling. And it's not being dragged down by all kinds of religious, nonsensical beliefs.
Customs and ceremonies.
Things that are just totally
Tradition.
ridiculous.
And where is this located again in India?
In a city called Pune, P-U-N-E.
Pune.
It's about 3 hours by car from Mumbai, from Bombay.
Very interesting.
Yeah, very, very.
Sam Harris is a proponent of this also.
Yes?
Yes,
He goes there?
no, he's a proponent of the meditation.
Ah,
And he's trying to combine atheism and meditation for a lot of people. He thinks it's a good union of forces and lifestyle and
yeah, it's possible. You got to be careful of stuff like that.
yeah.
Well, he is he got his doctorate degree in, I believe it was the mind and neuroscience, right? And then that is his basic for exploring in those different fields, as you mentioned. So, is there anything that you...
We're on Sam Harris.
Yeah.
He made a very interesting statement recently. He went to Israel, and supposedly he was standing on the mount, and he could visualize that Christ was there, made his big speech, etc. And he said, the difference between me is I didn't take any religious thing out of it. I took the moment out of it. I took the seeing the horizon out of it, where other people take it as a religious experience. He says, I don't think you can make it a religious experience. It's just going out and enjoying nature.
Right.
And that's how he says that's the difference between a lot of people. You know, like we use the argument, the only difference between you and I is I believe in one less God than you do. You know, that type of deal. And, you know, the other argument, do you believe in Zeus? And you say, no, well, you're an atheist then, you know. And as you know, the Christians were called atheists by the Romans way back when. But anyway.
So, is there a final statement you'd like to make to the audience about your feelings in general, which I think you did, basically, but you might want to make a couple last things that come across your mind from your observations
Well,
of life?
I've written my own eulogy. And
Interesting.
Very clever idea.
And I've arranged with my
Best friend?
friends who will read it and my children that there would be no religious aspect to the funeral. And everybody can drink and sing and be happy.
Sort of like the Irish do.
Yes.
Or you'll have a memorial.
I mean, it doesn't make any difference because I'm
you
gone.
won't be there, yeah.
Right. But they'll celebrate the good things in
You're
life.
be right back, right?
What's that?
You're not going to tell me you'll be right back.
I wish I could say that, but then I'd be institutionalized.
Well, I want to thank you very much.
It's my
for
pleasure.
doing that. You have some very good thoughts.
Thank you.
use logic, and you're a man that's of peace and using the world as you see it without any hang-ups. And
I hope
that
so.
certainly is appreciated. Thank you for being on the show.
Nice to meet you. Nice to spend time with you.